Children at war, fighting in robots? Kind of sounds like Gundam, but it's not. Welcome to Mel's March Madness, a limited time series where I talk about some of my favorite anime, manga, and manhwa throughout the month of March. Today's letter is the letter E, and the letter E stands for 86. Yes, 86 is about war, and it's about children fighting in robots, but there's so much more. Definitely one of my favorite anime, so much so that I'm now listening to the light novels, because it is an absolute gem, an absolute masterpiece. The story is this country known as San Magnolia have sent these children to war. Why have they been sent to war? Well, that's because they look different from the rest of the country. The country of San Magnolia is filled with a group of people called Alba, and they all have white hair and white silver eyes. And because they felt too valuable, they felt like they didn't want to sacrifice their lives in order to protect their country, they said, hey, let's round up all the people who don't have silver white hair or silver white eyes and ship them off to war because they're not even human. We can't even qualify them to be human. So every day, these people, namely these children, the 86, are fighting a war for a country that doesn't even think that they're human beings. Now to zoom in on the story itself. Our main character, Lena, is a handler for the San Magnolia army. Basically, they're commanders for the 86, and they engage with them via, like, radio communication. Now, Lena doesn't like to think of herself as the other 86. She thinks she's different because she thinks the 86 are humans. But we quickly come to find out as she's interacting with her latest team known as the Spearhead Squadron that she may not be so different after all. But in doing so, she learns some ways to basically improve her engagement with the 86 and really help create an impact on their lives in her own personal life. And as she learns how to improve herself, she finds herself building a bond with these child soldiers and relationships start to blossom. But since this is a story about war, you cannot expect everything to go as it sounds. And something that I think that's interesting about this story is that you could kind of find it relevant in many points in history, but very notably right now. If you're following the current events of the world, 86 kind of hits a little bit different, especially as I'm currently listening to the light novels. Themes of racism, themes of war, themes of loss and grief, as we see our fellow loved ones lose either everything or everyone they have. While a beautiful masterpiece to watch in terms of animation thanks to A1 Pictures, and super emotionally provoking, not only because of the story, but also thanks to the musical composition. The composer for 86 is the same composer for Attack on Titan. This anime does very little to bring happy moments, but when it does, those are also a tearjerker. And as I mentioned about the audiobooks earlier, I have found myself crying the same way while watching the anime while listening to the audiobooks. And I'm sure if I was to read the physical copies, I'd probably feel the same. Because just the way in that they describe some of the loss that they feel, just in the way that they describe the deaths that we experience in the anime and the light novels, all of it feels gut-wrenching. There is absolute tragedy, absolute death, and you will be grieving and crying as you watch this anime. It is absolutely tragically heartbreaking in the most beautiful way. And if you cannot wait for another season to be announced because there's only one season, the light novels do have audiobooks up to 13 volumes at this point. And the wonderful thing about it is that it's a theatrical performance. It's kind of like watching anime, but without the visual, because there's immense voice acting going on while you're listening. So if you've never seen 86 before, I highly recommend it. And if you've seen 86, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Continue to follow along with the rest of this mini-series, as at the end of the month, early April, I will be doing a tournament bracket to let you, the audience, decide on what my next long-form video will be. I'm Mel, the host of AniMel, and I will catch you all on the next one. Bye!